They thought they could fire me like I was disposable. Like 8 years of holding their crumbling systems together meant nothing. The man who fired me didn't even know my name at first. Called me Laura. Twice. It's Lauren. And when I walked out of that HR glass box with my badge face up on the table, I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I gave them 10 minutes. 10 minutes before everything they took for granted started unraveling. Because I didn't sabotage them, I just stopped saving them. My name's Lauren. I was the silent backbone of a tech company in Rochester, New York. If you ever used our platform and it didn't crash during a holiday surge, that was me. If a client reported a bug late on a Saturday and it disappeared by morning, me again. I didn't do it for recognition. I did it because someone had to care enough to stay up till 4 a.m. listening to the system breathe. But the moment they hired Evan, everything changed. He married into the company, literally. VP of Transformation overnight. The kind of guy who renames Slack channels, adds emojis to roadmaps, and calls it innovation. He called our legacy code Grandma and our clients replaceable. He called me a liability, a relic. He said the future didn't include people like me. And in that HR room, with Sonia from HR clutching a branded folder like it was a Bible, Evan leaned in with a smirk. We're restructuring. Legacy roles no longer map to the future. Legacy. That's what they called me, but legacy doesn't mean obsolete. It means foundation. I stared at the folder, didn't need to open it. I knew what came next. So I stood up, looked Evan in the eye and said, "You have 10 minutes before the system fails." And then I walked. No tantrum, no threat. Just the calm certainty of someone who stopped holding the weight no one else knew existed. You want to know what happened next? Before we go further, quick question. Have you ever been replaced by someone who had no idea how to do your job? Drop the city you're from in the comments. I want to know where the real heroes are. And hey, like and subscribe if you're tired of buzzwords replacing competence. Because 10 minutes later, the first email bounced. Then 2, then a dozen. And that was just the beginning. I didn't go home right away. After walking out of the glass box, I wandered down 2 blocks to a rundown cafe with peeling paint and tables crammed too close together. The kind of place where no one cares if you sit for hours. I ordered black coffee I knew would taste burnt and a blueberry muffin I had no appetite for. From the window, I could see the mirrored glass of our office building. The 15th floor. The same floor I spent years on, pulling late nights while everyone else slept, keeping the system from choking on itself. Now, I watched it from the outside. No badge, no laptop, no more bandages, 10 minutes. That's how long it takes for one of my scripts, not the company's, to recognize it no longer has permission to run. At first, nothing happens, dashboards stay green, graphs look steady, everyone thinks they're fine. But then a queue overflows, an invoice doesn't reconcile. A single alert pings, then another, and another. It's like the sound of a house cracking before the roof caves in. And right then buzz, my phone, Sandra from finance. "Hey Lauren, super weird question. Do you happen to have a copy of the Q3 reconciliation tool? Nothing's syncing." Darren from procurement. "Lauren, are you online? We're locked out of the vendor logs." Aspen's panicking. Anna, the CEO's assistant. "I know you're gone, I respect that, but please, where are the system backups stored?" I stared at the messages. My thumb hovered. I could have responded. Could have stepped back in, instead. I opened the internal status page on my tablet. What was once a neat row of green checkmarks was bleeding into yellow, then red. Someone, probably an intern, had posted a banner. "We are currently experiencing a temporary disruption in service across multiple systems." Temporary? That's code for "we have no clue what's happening." I laughed, loud enough to startle the barista. I sipped my coffee and let the bitterness anchor me. Should I have left a trail? A backup folder somewhere with instructions. Maybe an anonymous email to the only 2 junior engineers I trusted. Then I remembered Evan's smirk. The way he tapped his watch like I was an old battery he couldn't wait to throw out. I gave them 8 years. Not just work, life. Missed birthdays, canceled dinners. Flu seasons spent on call. And now I owed them nothing. But I didn't stop watching. Then it got worse. A vendor posted on LinkedIn, "Due to technical issues with our partner system, fulfillment operations are temporarily paused." Translation, they're losing money, and it's spreading, ping. Alex, old infra team, told you it would unravel without her. Mira, boards waking up. Evan's sweating. Carlos, $10 says Evan blames her on the way out. Then, it happened. Evan joined the group chat. Hey team, let's keep the energy positive dizzy, we're all in this together. Solutions not blame, I nearly spit out my coffee. I could see him now, sweating in that same conference room, trying to patch over a disaster with sparkles and hashtags. But here's what no one understood. This wasn't sabotage. I didn't break anything, I just stopped fixing. The calls kept coming. The inbox flooded with urgent subject lines. But I didn't move, I didn't reply, not yet. Then the messages changed tone. The ones that mattered, the quiet workhorses, the good ones, they weren't asking for miracles. They were trying to stop the bleeding. Sandra, payroll preview shows duplicates. If this posts, we're in breach with 3 lenders. Do I pause the run? I finally replied. Pause it, tell legal you did it under the emergency stop clause. Runbook page 3, she hesitated. I don't have the runbook. Check Confluence. Quarter end guardrails. Search, stopgap. It's read-only, but it's plain English. She went quiet, then soft. Thank you. I could have let the whole thing collapse, but I didn't, because some of those people didn't deserve to suffer just because Evan wanted to play CEO-in-law. So I opened my personal archive. Everything I was legally allowed to keep. Warnings, emails, screenshots of approvals, and one very important document, the signed clause giving me ownership of the scripts I wrote. Off hours, unpaid. But critical, Evan had signed it himself, too rushed to read it. I highlighted the part with my name just in case, and then I helped Anna, quietly. There's an off-site backup. Confluence page. Search for Mirror Haven. You're authorized to restore read-only access from the vault. I didn't mention the scripts. Didn't send a zip file, boundaries. I wasn't their fixer anymore. But I wasn't their saboteur either. Minutes later, the status page flickered, yellow bleeding back into green around the backup nodes. Invoices were still failing, but finance wouldn't flatline today. In the old team chat, Alex told you she wouldn't let payroll crash. Spine and a heart. Mira, rumor board called an emergency meeting at 5. Evans pacing like a treadmill. Carlos, vendor just posted again. Service degraded due to client-side authentication issue. Translation. They broke it. I stared across the street at the 15th floor. I used to wonder what it would feel like to not be needed. Now I knew. It felt like standing on a shore, watching a tide you used to control, and knowing exactly which rock would be exposed next. That's the curse and gift of competence. You can predict the collapse. Buzz, my phone again, this time. Sonia, HR, her voice low, shaking. I recorded the meeting, with Evan. I didn't plan to, but something told me to hit record. I froze. She continued. Before you walked in, Evan said, he said legacy staff were a risk. Said we had too many older workers cluttering the culture. I told him to stop. I documented it. My jaw clenched. Discrimination isn't just an ugly word, it's expensive. Protect yourself, I told her. Email it to your personal account, then print it. Keep a copy at your mom's house. She gave a tiny, nervous laugh. He's already blaming you, she whispered. He's trying. I know. Then she asked, are you okay? I looked at my cold coffee, at the muffin with one bite missing, at the mirrored windows of a building that once consumed my life. Ask me tomorrow. The next morning, the whispers had turned into headlines. A trade publication dropped a small but sharp article. Disruptions at Eldridge Corp. Vendors report delays. No mention of me, but the subtext, it screamed. At the cafe, I opened my inbox. The board liaison had emailed. Subject, request for conversation body. Strictly confidential. We'd appreciate a brief call today. Your perspective would be helpful. I sat with it. I didn't answer. Not yet. Instead, I opened a fresh document, started listing dates. Every warning I gave, every fix I performed, every emergency patch I deployed without sleep. I attached the contract clause, the emails, screenshots, timestamps, no drama, no adjectives, just receipts. That afternoon, Sonia messaged me again. Board meeting at 3. Evans presenting a timeline. He's blaming legacy scripts. He's blaming you. My scripts. The ones assigned to me by signed contract. Funny how I became obsolete one day and essential the next. At 3:05, I joined the board call. Camera off, voice steady. They asked me what happened. I didn't embellish, didn't raise my voice. I told them the truth. I told them that I stopped fixing what no one else bothered to understand. I told them that redundancies existed because I made them, that payroll guardrails worked because I wrote them, that failovers failed because Evan killed them without a fallback. And then I shared my screen, showed them the clause, my name, Evan's rushed signature. Silence. The kind where no one breathes because they're doing the math on everything they ignored. Finally, one board member asked, "So these disruptions, they're a result of you leaving?" "No," I said. "They're the result of firing the person who held up the scaffolding. The collapse was already waiting." The chairwoman leaned forward. "And your scripts belong to you?" "Yes." "By contract?" One slow nod, like a gavel dropping. That was enough. When the call ended, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt drained. 30 minutes later, Sonia called again. "They cornered Evan," she whispered. The COO asked why he never checked the contracts. He tried to spin it, tried to blame you. The chair shut him down. And then she said the words I'll never forget. She didn't sabotage us. She just stopped saving us. Outside, the sky was dark. The 15th floor of Eldridge flickered like dying fireflies. Through the window, I saw Evan, phone pressed to his ear, talking too fast, hands slicing the air. Like he could negotiate gravity. But it was too late. The building didn't fall with an explosion. It leaked, slow, relentless, and the truth, it echoed louder than anything I could have said. By the end of the week, Eldridge Corp wasn't in crisis. It was free-falling. The internal dashboards looked like crime scenes, red, yellow, bleeding across every corner. Vendors posted public apologies. Clients suspended services. The polished image that Evan painted with buzzwords and Canva slides was peeling like cheap wallpaper. And then the apologies started rolling in. "Sandra, I'm sorry I didn't speak up. You carried us. I see it now." Darren, "You were right about everything. If you ever consult, I'll bring you in, no question." Even Anna, the CEO's assistant, "I wish I had said something sooner. Thank you for all of it." I let their words sit. I didn't forgive, not yet. Because some wounds need to be seen before they can be healed. Then came Evan. His messages changed like seasons. First, smug. "We'll fix this without you." Then, pleading, "Just a quick call, please, I'll pay you personally." Finally, desperate, "If you don't help, my marriage is on the line." I didn't respond. Some doors don't slam. They just stay open wide enough for someone to realize no one's walking back through. Friday afternoon, Sonia called again. Her voice was calm. "He's suspended. Administrative leave pending review." The board couldn't ignore the contracts, or the receipts, and the CEO, I waited. Silent, too silent, he knows this is bigger than Evan. I closed my eyes and let the words settle. The building I held up for years, it wasn't mine to save anymore. That night, a thick cream-colored envelope slid under my apartment door. A subpoena. Shareholders versus Eldridge Corporation. I wasn't a defendant. I was a witness. They wanted me to testify, to explain how one overlooked employee had held up the entire structure while leadership ignored every warning. I thought about it. Courtroom revenge, public collapse. But then I realized I didn't need to destroy them. They were doing that all on their own. My role, not fire, mirror. That weekend, I packed a bag and drove north. No laptop, no charger. Just a small suitcase and peace I hadn't felt in years. At a roadside diner, I skipped the coffee and finally let my hands be still. For years, I had been invisible. The guardrail, the failsafe, the heartbeat behind the dashboards. They called me legacy to insult me, but they didn't understand legacy is foundation. And when they fired me, they pulled the last brick. By Monday, I returned to the city. My inbox was a storm, but one email stood out. Subject line. "Consulting opportunity from Stratum Systems. We've always respected your work. Ready when you are." No emojis, no fluff, just respect. 6-month contract, double the pay, half the stress. More importantly, no Evan, no nepotism. No glitter and jargon pretending to be strategy. That afternoon, I walked past Eldridge Corp one final time. The 15th floor was dark. On the glass was a printed Wi-Fi notice. Visitor Wi-Fi. Welcome, one same password it had always been. For years, I begged them to change it. They never did. I didn't laugh, I didn't gloat, I just kept walking. The city air was cool against my face. They say revenge is best served cold. Maybe that's true, but I've learned something else. The real prize isn't revenge, it's freedom. Freedom from carrying what was never yours to hold. Freedom from patching holes while someone else takes credit. and the sweetest victory. Knowing you were never obsolete, you were just irreplaceable. And now, I finally chose peace. Thank you for watching. If you've ever been the one holding the scaffolding while someone else climbs higher, tell us your story in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to be reminded. Legacy doesn't mean obsolete. It means you built something that still stands. Stay strong. Stay sharp. Your silence might be someone else's collapse.